I'm David Thompson, Managing Partner of Blatch Solicitors.
And how long have you been with them?
I've been with the firm 30 years, and I've been Managing Partner now for just on 8 years.
Congratulations. And I know you said that you've been with your coach for about 3 years, right?
Yes, for about three and a half years we've had Sherlaw's input into the firm.
And I just wonder, if you cast your mind back to that time, I just wonder what prompted you to think about, working with Sherlaw's in more depth.
Okay, well, there's been quite a lot of change in the legal industry. The Legal Service Act has prompted significant structural changes, and as a result of which, coupled with the firm's desire to grow, we saw this as an opportunity to take on board external coaching to help us devise a strategy that would take us to where we want to be in the future. Of course, this happened in the teeth of the recession, but as it turns out, it was a good way to deal with the recession because it brought in a lot of energy and a lot of business strategic coaching, which we as a law firm didn't possess internally.
Although I imagine if you were thinking these thoughts during the recession, weren't there some people who thought, that's a bit strange? You thought that a bit.
Yes, what we did is at one of our annual partner conferences, we invited two of the senior Sherlaw's coaches to come along and basically put their case as to how they could benefit us. And I think at the end of that session, there was a clamouring, a unanimity, yes, we want you guys to come in. And that was for Nick Rickson and Peter Harford.
So along that journey, I just wonder, what is it about the Sherlaw's approach that has made you see things in a different way?
Okay, well, law firms are very conservative, or they have been hitherto. So we realised that in order to achieve our ambitions, we weren't going to do it within our own management capability, that we needed some coaching. And what we liked was the goal setting of Sherlaw's. They worked with us to say, well, where do you want to get to? You want to get to here? Right, well, this is the path, how are we going to do it? And in that, they set up a number of projects which we followed over the last 3 years. And we've also set some new projects for the future. So we've seen growth during the teeth of the recession. In 5 years, we've gone from about 12 million to 20 million. Hopefully soon to be 22 million as a result, due to both coaching and our obviously client base, we've seen this growth.
Can you give me an example of that goal setting? Because sometimes goals can be stressful in themselves, can't they? So
yeah. Well, when they came into us, I think we'd moved from about 12 to about just on 14 million. So we set ourselves an objective to get to 25 over a period of years, so doubling, and we're nearly there. By January 2014, we should be at about 22, and with our ambitions and with what we're hoping to do in the marketplace, we should be at the 25 million by the target date, which is the end of 2015. We've mainly achieved that through organic growth, but what we will also now set our sights on is growing by merger and acquisition. We did our first small acquisition back in January of this year, and we're currently talking with another law firm to come and join us, and they, all things being equal, should be with us for the beginning of the new year.
That's quite a switch from growing naturally.
Yeah.
How was that achieved? What did they do to make you see things in that way?
They made us believe in ourselves, gave us confidence that if we were prepared to set targets and go for it and work towards them, we could actually achieve it. So instead of just going back to our desks and doing the legal work and having our heads down, they made us, I suppose, they lifted our horizons. So we were able to say, yep, this is where we want to be. And therefore, we had to set time and money aside to try and achieve this. And to date, we've done it largely organically, but I see the future growth, particularly in the legal service market at the moment, with the structural changes that are going on, by acquisition or merger. And what we're finding is that people are now writing to us and saying, can we come and talk to you? Or very good lawyers, can we come and join you? We like what you're standing for. We like what we hear about you. So instead of us going out hunting for people, we're actually getting good quality people or firms wanting to talk to us.
And you talked about that first merger. What did it feel like to you as one of the leaders in that business to go through that process?
Because it was something we hadn't done before, I suppose we were fairly tentative going into it, but it's actually worked out very well. We have run with Sherlock a culture project, so which is run throughout the firm. It's been a bottom-up process involving every one of the 250-odd staff. So we knew what we were and what our culture was. We helped define it throughout the firm, and we looked for firms that would have a similar culture or would be able to buy in to our culture. So if there are firms that were totally, that might be attractive financially, but we just didn't think would work, we said, thank you, but no thank you. It's given us a confidence in ourselves running the culture project and also positioning ourselves in the market. We've run one of the most successful projects we run is the positioning project. We said, well, this is where we see ourselves in the future. This is what we want to achieve, and we're driving towards that. So I think it's confidence has been instilled throughout the coaching process.
And that defining culture, I think you mentioned to me, is that inspiring confidence? That's what you're doing?
Yes, yeah. We've set our mark as inspiring confidence both internally within the firm, because we've got to be able to be confident in our colleagues and so across the board in all legal disciplines, but externally as well. We want to inspire confidence in our clients so that they are very relaxed about coming to us, in the sense that they don't have any hang-ups, they don't have concerns either about a pricing structure or the relationship, particularly the relationship. So we want to inspire confidence in our clients. We find that that is rubbing off, and really that generates recommendations.
So obviously much more proactive about expansion. Where are you setting your sights for the next year in terms of your reputation and your turnover?
Well, in terms of turnover, we're now looking beyond the 25 million. We're looking at the mid-30s to 40 million. We want to become a regional law firm in the Central South, and we're well on the way to achieving that. As I said, we've had other law firms approach us and say, are we going to be suitable bedfellows? So in terms of becoming a regional practice, we need to get up to that sort of size, 35, 40 million, something in that order. And I think that will then open up opportunities of its own. So that's where we see ourselves. But we don't want, well, having now agreed what the culture is, which is permeated throughout the firm, and everyone has bought into that because everyone contributed to it, that gives us a certain amount of inbuilt confidence to go out and achieve what we've set our objectives as.
And what about your rankings? You mentioned that to me as well.
Oh, the rankings. Well, I think 4 or 5 years ago, out of the top 200 law firms in the country, there were about 10,500. But of the top 200, we were then 144th. I think we're just outside the top 100 at the moment. And if things go to plan, we should be within that ranking, within the 100 in the next few years. That's if everything goes to plan, of course.
Given your inspiring confidence, it will. Just on a personal level, because obviously you've been stretched over this time in a good way. What's it like on a personal level working with your coach?
On a personal level, what the coach has, I suppose, given me is the energy and the vision to think outside the legal box. So that's been very rewarding, but it's also been very time-consuming, and we now have a situation where we have a specialised management team which not only has to manage the legal work and the profitability of the firm, but looking where we're going. So we have a functional management structure now, which is that's the third project that we initially started with Sherlock's. To be frank, we haven't fully implemented it, but we're pretty well along the path of doing so, and we should have it fully, I would hope, implemented by this time next year. So things don't happen overnight in law firms. We have to change minds and opinions, but we're getting there. But so in terms of the relationship with the coach, they've made us look internally at ourselves and how we're set up, B, externally where we want to go, and C, they've given us, I suppose, the insight to create the culture which will take us there. So that's really how I would say how the relationship with the coach has been defined. But they can be demanding. And I don't think you want to underestimate the amount of time and energy you have to put into achieving these goals. But it's worthwhile, we hope.
Thank you.